This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
In this week's edition of the Microschool Minute.
Two competing ballot proposals are vying to reshape Arizona's Empowerment Scholarship Account program. These measures aim to address growing concerns over program administration, oversight, and eligibility as the debate between school choice advocates and public education supporters intensifies. The push for reform follows increased scrutiny regarding potential misspending and the rapid expansion of the universal voucher system. Voters may ultimately decide the future of the program, which has become a focal point of state educational policy disputes. Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Yee has announced plans to implement significant changes to the state's ESA marketplace system to prevent the misuse of taxpayer funds. The proposed improvements focus on creating a more efficient platform that can better identify unauthorized spending while still providing families with necessary funds. The ESA program, which became universal in 2022, currently serves over 100,000 students, allowing them to use public tax dollars for private or home-based education. Yee's office manages the financial vendor contract that facilitates reimbursements for these educational expenses. The New Hampshire House of Representatives passed a bill designed to simplify the process of opening home-based childcare and small childcare centers. By easing local zoning requirements, the legislation aims to increase the availability of early education options across the state. Supporters believe the move will help address the shortage of childcare providers by removing administrative hurdles. This shift reflects a broader trend of reducing regulatory red tape to support smaller, alternative learning and care environments. Arkansas families participating in the state's school choice program will see a funding boost for the 2026-27 school year, with typical educational freedom accounts rising to $7,208. This increase of $344 per student is tied to the state's foundation funding for public schools, as established by the 2023 Arkansas Learns Act. The program is seeing a notable trend toward microschools, with nearly 100 such institutions registered to serve roughly 1,500 students. While proponents argue the extra funds will better support diverse educational needs like tutoring and therapies, critics worry about the long-term impact on public school resources. Recent editorial analysis highlights Florida's long-standing tax credit scholarship program as a model for how school choice can drive achievement gains in public schools. Data suggests that scaling these programs provided significantly larger benefits for public school students than direct budget increases alone. In contrast, Nevada's efforts to expand school choice have faced legislative opposition despite decades of stagnant public school performance. Advocates argue that well-structured education savings accounts, ESAs, like those in Arizona, create incentives for families to save and efficiently manage educational funds. A new legislative proposal in Florida aims to allow small private schools, those with 150 or fewer students, to operate in commercial and mixed-use zones like strip malls and office buildings. The bill would designate these schools as permitted uses, effectively bypassing the lengthy rezoning and public hearing processes that currently stall many microschool startups. While the move is intended to quickly expand classroom seats for scholarship recipients, it has sparked pushback from local officials concerned about losing community oversight. If passed, the law would require these spaces to meet educational occupancy and fire safety standards while drastically reducing red tape. A Texas judge has extended the application deadline for the state's school voucher program following legal challenges regarding the exclusion of Islamic schools. Two separate lawsuits claim that the state-approved list of eligible institutions unfairly excludes all Islamic private schools while including others, such as Christian schools. The legal battle highlights ongoing tensions regarding the administration and inclusivity of education savings account programs. As the deadline is pushed back, the state must address these claims of discrimination within its burgeoning school choice framework. The Alabama House Ways and Means Education Committee has approved a modified version of the 2027 fiscal year education budget, navigating a capped growth limit of 5.75%. Lawmakers had to balance $570 million in new revenue against massive demands, including $380 million for employee health insurance and $100 million for teacher raises. The reshuffled package also addresses funding for a new state house and various supplemental spending priorities. This budget sets the financial stage for the state's continued investment in both public and alternative educational programs. A new bill filed in the Alabama House, HB 563, would grant families using CHOOSE Act education savings accounts the right to sue if their children are denied athletic eligibility. The legislation aims to prevent athletic associations from barring students solely because they participate in the state's ESA program. The bill provides an enforcement mechanism for existing protections in the CHOOSE Act, allowing for injunctions or damages. This move ensures that students in alternative schooling environments can maintain participation in competitive sports without legal or administrative penalty. In Nebraska, an intense political battle continues over the legislative bill 753 tax credit voucher law, with opponents launching a petition drive to bring the issue before voters. Pro-voucher forces, backed by significant contributions from prominent figures like Senator Pete Ricketts and Governor Jim Pillen, are working to keep the program in place. The conflict reflects a nationwide trend of voucher supporters attempting to secure programs through legislation while critics push for public referendums. The outcome will determine if Nebraska joins the growing list of states with permanent private school subsidies. A group of House Republicans is leading a high-profile push to overturn Plyler v. Doe, the 1982 Supreme Court ruling that guarantees a free public education to all children regardless of their immigration status. Proponents argue that the decision creates an indefensible financial burden on taxpayers and diverts limited resources away from American students. Opponents of the move, including Democratic lawmakers and legal advocacy groups, warn that overturning the landmark case would lead to thousands of children being left out of school, making truancy enforcement nearly impossible. They contend that the ruling has paid dividends by helping students become productive citizens, and that removing these protections could set a legal precedent for targeting other essential educational services.
If you know of a microschool or organization that deserves a shout-out, drop a line and let us know. Thank you for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support us, consider leaving a review. Until next week, happy microschooling.